French and Indian War was the worldwide 7 Years' War. The war was fought between the Colonial of British America and New France. Deaths from the French and Indian War became a major cause in American Revolutionary War.
The new tax is on paper documents. Violence is spreading throughout America. The money will be used to support the British troops. People are predicting that this may start an American Revolution.
This will affect the colonies because it will separate the colonists into two sides, those who are loyal to the king and those who want their own representative government. This unfair treatment of the colonies by the king with overtaxation will lead to a conflict that may become an American Revolution.
Down to 3. Some people refer to it as the American Revenue Act or the American Duties Act. This mainly affects New England and other shipping colonies.
Laws or point of view. Propaganda affects the American Revolution by colonial leaders using news of the killings as propaganda. The people that were involved with propaganda was Samuel Adams and Paul Revere. Later, the colonies joined together to fight against the British.
The brink of rebellion. The city of Boston was paled in the American Revolution. American colony forces closed in on the city of Boston. General William of the Massachusetts
The Boston Tea Party was an act of defense toward British government. The key act on the Revolutionary
March
War.
5th, 1770, the British shot and killed 5 colonists. The colonists had tensions against the Royal British Guard due to the fact they had put heavy taxes on them that was imposed by the Township Acts due to these tensions.
About the Continental Congress. From 1774 to 1789, the Continental Congress served as the government of 13 American colonies and later the United States. The first
Great Britain. The Continental Army was supplemented by the local militias and local troops that remained under control of the individual states. General George Washington, the leader, sent the British Continental Army raging through the British to Boston.
Of the Royal Government. The Boston Port Act, which closed the port of Boston until the price of dump tea was recovered, moved the capital of Massachusetts to Salem, and made Marblehead the official port of entry for Massachusetts.
Here's what it's about. On July 5th, 1775, the Second Continental Congress wrote the Olive Branch Petition. It listed their issues and asked the British government to respond and deal with them. King George III of England refused to accept the petition because he believed them to be in rebellion.
The militia is a military force that is raised from the civil population to supplement a regular army and that defended colonies against foreign enemies.
Things are intense in Washington, as the Minutemen are in the middle of the battle against the British. They had more training than the militia and were called Minutemen because their ability to be deployed anywhere at a moment's notice.
Things are tense here in Boston as the Loyalists have fled for Nova Scotia. If you don't know what a Loyalist is, it's someone who stays loyal to the ruler of the governors.
Patriots in the Revolutionary War were people ready to defend on their part of the colonies. The Patriots affected the war by helping their colonies and support.
In the pamphlet, Paine states that the British government is too complex and a monarchy has too much power. Paine also says that America has flourished and doesn't need the help of Britain anymore.
The Battle of Lexington Concord fought yesterday, April 19, 1775. They were kicked off the warland of American Revolutionary War. Today, April 20.
No one knows who fired the first shot. There were many British soldiers involved in the battle. After the Revolution, most of the 13 colonies had begun to raise armies to be able to defend or protect themselves from
Congress, the warned them the British was coming because they had British army supplies and they had to move. Paul Revere was the one that warned the Minutemen that the British is coming, so they would be ready for the war.
News now will tell you about the Battle of Bunker Hill, which should actually be called the Battle of Breed's Hill because the battles weren't even fought on Bunker Hill. Even though a loss for the Colonials and a win for the British Army, it took the British 3 different assaults to take control of Breed's Hill.
Only for Colonial News Now. Thomas Jefferson is now the principal author for the Declaration of Independence. Gave the British their freedom from Britain, and now they are Americans.
Lots of people with me today. Some people say we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This was meant to say that we hold the truth to be obvious, that all men are created equal.
In Great Britain, they formally stated their opinion and their intentions in a letter to the King, which is now known as the Declaration of Independence. This is the first series of an article that we will explore in this documentation.
When I say the Declaration of Rights, I mean the second part of the Declaration of Independence, also known as the Declaration of Natural Rights. By then, the colonists knew if they had rights as people, and if the king wouldn't give them the rights they wanted and deserved, they would stop following the king's rules and would make their own separate country, America. The Declaration itself. The Declaration of Rights united the colonies in a way. It helped them realize that they had rights that the ruler, the king, didn't care about, that they all had needs, and that if the government didn't care about their rights, then they needed to make a new one that did.
The list of grievances is a list of complaints from the colonies to the British government. This list was written in the Constitution, which was written during the war. It also tells about King George III and what he was doing with the government, and therefore causing the colonists to complain.
Good morning, this is Abraham Ayala reporting for Colonial News Now. The Second Continental Congress declared the United Colonies are independent from the British Empire in the Resolution of Independence.
260. Now let's talk crazy. A group of colonists boarded a king's ship and dumped all of the tea into the Boston Harbor. The king was going crazy. But about this, saying he is going to propose a new law called the Intolerable Acts upon the people. Many of these people will retain loyal to the colony, but I wish to resist the conflict between us, although the violence has been strong enough to force war between us. I am with my soldiers till the end, therefore I will support them.
Oh, we're going?